Hi there, yeah, it's Keith here again. I'm just going to do, this is my first experiment with using some gum arabic and some naturally found quite orangey coloured terracotta, I suppose, pigment, which I've partly reduced down. As you can see, it's quite powdery, but it's still got some lumps in it, so I'm going to try using some gum arabic and the muller and trying to get that into a sort of usable paint. So yeah, I'll get on with it. So the first thing I'm doing, just using a little bit of gum arabic in the centre. I'm also going to be using a little bit of water as well, which I should have got prepared. A few drops of that. I can always add a little bit more pigment or adjust as I move. So this bit is just going to be gradually trying to incorporate the pigment into the centre. As you see, fairly quickly that's taken up much of that liquid, so I'm also going to need quite a bit more. So I'll gradually add some more water now. You obviously can't take water away, you end up just best to add it a little bit at a time, I found. So again, just moving it in from the sides. Again, it's just first time using gum arabic, so it's a little bit of an experimentation. It's obviously quite stiff there. I think I can afford to just add some more water there now. I do have a pipette somewhere, but I can't put my hands on it just at the moment, so I'm just using a teaspoon. Just moving the dry pigment into the centre, starting to combine it. Again, it's remarkable. I perhaps used too much gum arabic and didn't appreciate how it's quite gluey at the moment consistency. I want to get it down to more of a sort of a fairly loose, for the little experiment I want to do, more like a loose acrylic, if you like. Actually, it is becoming, as you mix it, it does start to move a little more easily. I suppose that's a sort of dry pigment getting combined fully with the liquids. I think I've done a reasonable job on this actual pigment itself, and it doesn't sound gritty when I'm using the pallet knife, so I think I won't need a great deal when it comes to using the mulling. It's just a little bit too stiff at the moment, so I'm just very carefully just add a little bit more water. See, just a few drops can change its consistency quite a lot. So just got all that red dry powder in from the outside. There's a little bit left there. Just using the pallet knife, the sharp edge, to move it back into the centre and incorporate it. Well, that's the sort of consistency I was looking for. I'm not sure I'll actually need to use the muller on this. It does seem to be cooperating really well. With the dry pigment. So you don't, there's quite a bit of pigment there, and you don't get a massive amount of paint from it. But I'm hoping by using the actual sort of raw pigment, although it's not obviously as processed some that you can buy, that you'll get a depth of colour. When you purchase ornament paint from craft suppliers, I think one of the main differences you'll find in terms of the quality and reflected in the price is the amount of actual pigment in there. You see, I've used no extenders here, and by extenders I mean things like the used talc, for example. So this is just effectively raw pigment, and that's coming really smooth. I don't think I'll even bother using the muller in this case. I'm going to transfer this in a minute just into one of my little storage jars. I'll just get a bit of paper though and a paintbrush just to show how that looks on a piece of white or right. I'll just get a paintbrush. This is just a piece of actual, just a hand, a piece of photocopy paper actually. But I think I just want to just see how that feels and looks when you paint. I mean, you're getting a really solid, hopefully you can see that, move that up, a very solid, rich colour. I'm really happy with that. I think that will it'll be interesting to see how that dries. But it applies really nicely, and it doesn't appear to have any grit in it at all, this. But it is drying almost instantaneously. So I'm really pleased with that. I'm going to just scrape that now into one of my little jars so I can use that later. If I can find one of my jars. Clean one. I'm still experimenting with these. I mean, people do put this is a sort of stage where people will put them into the metal tubes, similar to you get your oils or acrylic paint in. I'm just using these because well, I haven't got any tubes basically at this stage, and I'm hoping that because they are screw top and airtight, that they seem to have worked on a couple of the other little experiments that I've done. Anyway, I'll come back to this and I'll show how that, I want to show some later videos just how that paint can be used and perhaps diluted as well. How well it sort of stands up when you mix it as a sort of watercolour, because it is a basically watercolour based paint. So I'll report back and experiment a little bit further. Thank you.